Good afternoon, I'm Charles, and my internship was, I worked for ChatGPTNow.org, which I don't know anybody besides Dr. O, I know he's heard of it. Any of y'all ever heard of that website? Okay. What it deals with is it deals with matters within the Chattahoochee National Forest area, stories, people stories, events and things like that. And trust me, I'm not a nature person, never have been, probably never will be. So I'm a big sports person. I've done freelance sports writing for 4 years, and that's what I want to do. The only sport I've ever played is golf. That's really the only one I've ever loved. So I can write about football and basketball and still enjoy it and not, get emotionally attached to it. So this was a really big change for me. I wanted to just branch out and be able to cover different things and, just not be one-dimensional. If I get a newspaper job opportunity or a magazine opportunity, I wanted to be able, to show them a different side and different words. Okay. And like I said, it's an online news source. The editor is Lisa Schnellinger. She's give a little background about her. She worked for the Seattle Times, and really a long time before they went under, she just kind of up and left and wanted to start her own thing. So she started this along with a newspaper, a news site in Iraq. She went over there after the 2003 invasion started, and she actually started the first news site over there after we had gone in and thrown Saddam Hussein out. So very interesting, and she went for more what do you call this, feature stories. She wanted to get the people's opinions in there and not just about the war. She wanted to show how people were coping, with the aftermath. Just pull it up. And this is just the website. It's a pretty general website. It's actually a WordPress website, so all the templates and everything. It's like the last story put on there was about a month ago. So it's when events are going on, there'll be a lot more updated and everything. You got everything from bears and hunting to apparently there's a story about nuclear warheads and the Dawson County Forest. I didn't know that. So, yeah. So I'm telling you, she'll find a story.
That sounds CNN.
Well, let's see. I think this was one of mine actually. One of the stories I did was about using your hound dogs and allowing them to go and treat a bear so you can go shoot it. And they were changing the regulations, and they made their decision to change the regulations in June. However, it got appealed and this whole process played out, and then it wasn't finalized until September. So I had to go to a few hunting meetings. Never shot anything in my life, so I was sitting there, just really feeling, I have no idea what they're talking about, and I'm like, okay, I just try to take notes, take video, things like that. But I was able to get a story, and I guess, when I was talking about, being more diverse, this is one of those areas. I had no idea what it was. Lisa told me to go and talk to all these people and just sit in a couple meetings, so I did, and, I was able to get I think it was about probably 250, 300 words. I mean, it wasn't a very long story, but for me, it was, that was pretty good. So, now I didn't take all these pictures, so I didn't get that one. And so then moving on to just, my job, writing articles, like I just said, attending meetings and hearings. And then probably the funnest thing was learning how to iRecord. And the iPhone has become such a great thing. I would actually write my stories on my phone and send them and email them from wherever I was and take my pictures and videos and email them as they were happening. And it allowed Lisa to at least update the website as she wanted to, and she could keep a live stream going. And she taught me how to use some of the apps as well. And I'll get to a few of those in a minute. And taking pictures, like I said, I've never been a photographer either. So yeah, some of the pictures turned out really good and some turned out really bad. So I was just able to learn everything pretty much. And then these were a few of the events: forestry meetings, the hunting regulation, a 100-mile bike race in Dahlonega. Let me tell you, I had to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and I was there till about 3:30 that day, and it was awful. I mean, it was terrible. And I had to sit there and watch these people ride their bikes for about a mile, and then they went off in the woods, and I didn't see them again for, that 6 hours or 7 hours. And then when they finally came back, half of them had, skin up arms and skin up knees because they had fallen, and I mean, it was just chaotic, and it was so hard to write a story about it because some of this, when you can't see it, it's hard to put it into words. So you have to really rely on what they tell you. And then another event was a cross-country horse race. I had no idea that horses, they went cross-country racing. So I did that on one Saturday, and that was pretty interesting. They were traveling like 30 miles a day for an entire weekend. And it was a competition, but the people, they've all known each other for probably 15 years or longer. So it was a really tight-knit community. And got to see probably 50 horses out there, different breeds, different ages. And got to meet people from our age all the way into probably their 70s. And they were all very nice, and one thing with them, they were very grateful that somebody was out there to meet them and watch them and cover them. So that was fun. And then my tryout was an art festival in Pickens County, right up the road here. So I don't know if anybody does origami or painting or something like that, but that was an interesting experience. And there was actually people from as far as Arkansas that were at that event. So Jasper was rocking out. And then I thought we were going to be on the big, that big screen. So that's why I put 2 pictures. But let's see, this is from the horse event. This is Mark and I believe her name is Angie or Angela Jones. They were actually the coordinators, and they just lived right here in Canton. And so yeah, I talked to them a long time. I talked to them for like an hour or so after the event was done that Saturday, and they gave me, a lot of great stories and, connections with the people there because they knew everybody. And they talked, they quit their jobs about 15 years ago and started this whole cross-country gig. And now, they take it all across the country, and they have 7 different sections across the country where people join and do these races. And then the other one, that was just one of my favorite pictures, so I just wanted to put it up there. And those were taken off my phone. And then, since I was in the forest, I had to do a story about leaves in the fall when they were changing color. And I went out one day for probably 4 hours, and I went to Amicalola, Dahlonega, and a few other places just to try to find some leaves that hadn't completely fallen yet, and I wrote a little story about it and about the best viewing places. I wasted a lot of gas going to all these places, but it was okay. It was for a good cause. So, yeah. That one was kind of blurry. That was sometimes what would happen with the phone if you just didn't get the right zoom or anything. And that one, a lot clearer, and you can see even the trees behind it, how they stand out as well. this was part of the one on the left was people were warming up for that bike race. There was a couple hundred people out there that early, gearing up for it. So it was chaotic trying to get people at the start line and everything. And then these gentlemen were actually in the forestry meeting, and I just kind of sat there in the corner and told the people while I was there, and I just told them I wouldn't bother them, and they were all very gracious. And I took pictures and videos, and then just wrote a little write-up about it. And there again, I didn't know what they were talking about most of the time. But you just learn as you go, and that was the biggest experience I guess for me with my internship. And then my takeaways after I completed everything, time management. I'm just kind of one of those people, I'm organized, but I'm not. I just kind of get to things when they come to me, and this made me really have to, condense how I write, the words I use, and just being able to get a story on, in time, especially to Lisa, because she loves deadlines, so I learned that pretty fast. The use of the iPhone, WordPress, which now I've had to write blogs for my class, so WordPress has become a very fun tool to use. I would tell anybody if they want to start writing, just get on WordPress. And I like bananas. And actually, we had a blog yesterday in class about citizen journalism, which using the iPhone, that's citizen journalism. So I kind of had experience with this, and when I was writing my blog, I just thought about all those experiences and, talking about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But WordPress, it allows you to just categorize everything, months, topics. I like to tweet a lot, so I actually put my Twitter on there, and so now every time I tweet, it'll flash up and update itself. It's a very good tool. Then Dropbox, that's where when I would take my pictures and want to send them to Lisa, I would put them in Dropbox, which is like a social media site, and she could go on there and actually pull them off and then give me credit for them. And it's a little different than Flickr. Flickr's not as, or Flickr's more, you look at the pictures and things like that. Dropbox is you have to be a friend with them and then pull the pictures off. You can't really do anything else. And then the last thing was Twitter. And like I just showed, I tweet all the time, and I enjoy it. I'll probably be tweeting when I sit down. So, yeah. Any questions?
Charles, Lisa is like a world-renowned global journalist.
Yeah.
She went over to Afghanistan, was actually training journalists over there as they get more into democracy. Does she like working in a smaller realm like this? Or does she miss like a big global? And how is your following up there? Do you have some real devoted people who follow this?
Oh, definitely. The forestry people, the hunting people, and the bike. One of the guys, his name's David Muse from the Bikes. He actually does his own blog that he actually has followers. So he linked it with, I guess she linked it with that site. So now when his followers are reading about his stuff, they get pushed into hers. So she definitely has some devoted followers. And I was the first intern, when she brought me in. And then she went to North Georgia and got 2 others. So it was good because it grew, and the other 2 were at first they were able to do a lot more than I was, just because of the timing and location. But then when the summer came, I was able to really jump into it and join them. And then location, like what you were talking about. Well, she talked about, I think when she did our colloquium, she went to China too, I think. She talked about for like a year or so. And the way, I'd never even asked her about that before. And she enjoyed that from what she told us because, China's just so different But I think she enjoys this now, like being in North Georgia, because she's not from here. She's originally from Cleveland, so I think she enjoys the tight-knit community and, you know, how close people get. So